Now, I know you aren't probably that interested in seeing my face and me looking over to my side monitor, but I just decided to switch over early while I finish this off. So, get the old Discord in here, and I'm actually going to move that. Okay. Actually, you can't see the Discord because I have it on webcam, which is good. Um, so right now, I am just let's see something here. That. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so right now, just what I'm doing is I'm basically, I don't care about settings. What the heck? What's going on here? Close that. Close that. Oh, must have hit something. Okay. Anyways, okay, so right now I'm just let's see here. Let's do this one. This, no, this one. It's all in one line. And that. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I am posting the link, and it's really just the same link every time, but posted the link to my streams. Wait a second. Whoa. Back up. 199 part 1. So we're on Devstream 199. How about that? We're almost to Devstream 200. Wait a second. Did I do that, Todd? No. Okay. So yeah, we're almost to my 200 Devstream. I mean, technically, um, since the however long it's been, a month or something, technically it's more than 200 streams, but logically, it's 200 streams, dev streams. I'm streaming. I'm streaming. And then we go to redot. We go to redot discussion. Okay, so now I guess the only thing that left is IRC. And I don't know if I'm not going to be wasting some time today, too. I don't mean the stuff that I'm doing right this second. I mean, I might take some time during the stream to actually maybe talk to the AIs about possibly how I can kind of juice up my stream a little bit so that it's not so boring. What can I do that would visually that isn't necessarily art? Because, like I said, my drawing. I used to draw cartoon characters okay on paper, and I could copy stuff decently, and I can copy stuff pixel with the mouse decently. I'm not a pixel artist by any means, but I'm okay at certain things, right? And so the art thing, I really have to. I mean, I'll have to really do some practicing, which I won't do on a stream, unless it's an extra stream or something. I don't know. I probably won't even do it because I basically I'll have to do some more like exercise with like drawing straight lines and circles and shapes and basic stuff, just so I can get used to actually doing stuff with my hand on my graphics tablet. My old 2010 graphics tablet, or even it might be even older than that. It might be more like 2007. 2010 is when I got it, I believe, though. So 2010, the year we made contact. But anyways, So I might do some things to try to figure out how to. I realize I'm not getting that many people in the first place, and whenever I ask for help about that, it always said to add polls, do this, do that, and the other thing to your stream. I'm just like, no, nobody's coming in the first place. Well, how do I do that? And but then I'm thinking, occasionally we have people pop in, and it's usually not that much. So it's not, I'm not saying that it's even. Um, I'm not saying that there's that many people that pop in and out even, but if I had something more interesting on the screen, then you might be more apt to stay, and eventually that could bring more people in. They could see it, and then maybe they get on there, and maybe they, there's a developer, a guy that makes games called, he's the name Solar Loon that I subscribe to on YouTube, and whenever he does his game dev live streams, he only has 2 or 3 people too. So obviously, even if I was more interesting, uh, I don't think game development streams, unless it's a tutorial or something, or they're established, well established, and like lots of people like them. I don't think they get that many views, anyways. So even if you're doing a good job, you're still better off probably doing devlogs than actual game dev streams, right? Because all the stuff that you have to do is kind of boring, and you have to do a lot of repetitive stuff, and coding might not be one's cup of tea. It isn't really my cup of tea either, really. But um, some people like the coding; they like to watch it and stuff. But making a game is there's tons of boring stuff to do when you make a game. Any game, even if it's a really awesome game, is there. I guarantee there's hours and hours and hours of boredom in those. In fact, probably the better your game is, probably the more boring stuff you had to do to make it fun, make it exciting or whatever. Anywho, uh, I think did I get everything? Yeah, I got everything. Okay, so I guess now I can switch to desktop. 2 new messages. What do you have? 2 new messages. Oh, some dude's work in progress. That looks cool. Neat. All right, that's all right. Okay, hold on. Oh, Games from Scratch has a thing. Games from Scratch always has stuff um, every day, but the thing about Games from Scratch, the thing about it, it's not really Games from Scratch problem, but the problem is that it's always just updates of engines. Occasionally there's a new engine that pops up, and you're just like, after a while, you're like, I don't care because I'm making a game and stuff. I don't care about new engines and stuff. But anyways, let's switch to actually let's switch to this first. Nobody in the chat, so that means I can go ahead and refresh my page, and just give me a sec here and chat. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to switch to desktop now. There we are, and we're gonna go ahead and pull up favorites. I don't have the favorites down there, but I don't know. I wasn't able to use it at one point. Let's see some here. I can just run it from here, right? See, that's the thing. I can't run it from here. What's the point of having that? Maybe it's just shortcuts. See? So I actually have to go into file folder. And that's why I never use the favorites down there on the on the bar. This is Linux, by the way, not Windows. And you know, I don't know. There's probably something to do with the launcher or something to do with something or other that's not allowing it to be run on there. Okay, so let us pull up ChatGPT. I know it's boring. It's dumb using AI for everything. Okay, historical hotel alternatives is going to be at the bottom of that. Order dependent. Yeah, we're do the 2x2 and then okay. So I actually have to come up with a village. I mean, I could say a random village because that's what I started off with, but I can make a. I have to come up with a new village. Um, let's see. Let's say he's going. Which way is he going? Let's say he's going south. Um, I don't even know where I put it. Really, I should have some actual basic graphics. You know, I have a blend file that I kind of did some sketching at one point, but when I was trying to do a map, I don't think I have any images for the map though. Odds and ends. These are just scripts and whatever, right? Okay, that's not it. Projects, Enchanted lens, signed documents. I don't really have. Yeah, you know, I should start doing some visual stuff, shouldn't I? Reference. Box line tracing. What was that? Oh yeah. This was one of the ways I was going to decide to start learning how, you know, stylus control and stuff. I was gonna put this into, and I haven't really figured out how to do that yet. Now, at one point, you could put it, I don't know, background image or image as plain or something. I could trace it. Uh, I could trace it in grease pencil, so I could bring it in and then trace it into grease pencil on an older version of Blender. But for some reason, I couldn't figure out how to do that with the current versions. But I was gonna just do like a basic line tracing. You know, I guess the idea is you start at this, and this is just like, you know, like kid kind of um um like practice stuff, practice drawing, and that's kind of what I need because I'll essentially be starting as though I were, you know, in grade school or something. Because I really do have a problem. Okay, so I have a thing with like with nerves, right? Anxiety and stuff, but it isn't just anxiety. It's more motor. So my hand tends to shake sometimes more than others. It doesn't get worse or anything. It's just a thing I've always had. So it's not like I don't think it ever will get worse. It's not. I don't have a disease or something, but whatever it is causes my hand to shake and stuff. And then I find I grip my stylus too tightly when I'm trying to write or draw, and I I need to be able to relax. I need to be able to do the whole thing where you use either your elbow or your shoulder to draw, and I need to get into a practice of actually just being able to control my lines without, you know, much problem, where I just do stuff. In other words, where I go here and I you know, trace it. In fact, I could actually do that with the pen and the tablet. I'm not really actually tracing, but you know, it's just like that. Boom, boom. See the way my hands, see the way the cursor's like going like that. I need to do like a bunch of these and like do like circles and whatever, just so I can get used to it. And then maybe I can start doing a little bit of artwork related to my game. Now, the good part about phase one is that it's all text, so I don't really need to do anything, but I should still start thinking about maps. I should generate an image, and I was going to use Blender Grease Pencil for everything. I might still could do that. I might still should do that. Um, but it'd be easier just to go into GIMP and do stuff in GIMP because you start up the program and that's it. You don't have to worry about objects and whatever. And if I can load a picture in directly, I can copy it and put it. Although they have annoyingly in the newer versions of GIMP changed the copy paste. You have to go to a certain menu to do the paste into or whatever. Whereas you could just use to Control V it and then you click to anchor it. You can't do that now. You can't just automatically do that. You have to do like a separate menu thing to actually get that to work right, which is weird. But in any case, let's close that. So I don't even have anything. Uh, let's see. What I have in Inkscape in there? I was gonna try using Inkscape at one point to make a map. I have Krita, although I haven't used that, and I'm sure they're probably up to a newer version by now. This was it says it was created the 18th of October. I didn't think it was. I had that this late. No, no, no. This was okay. This is not when it was created because wait a minute. Created time Saturday the 18th of October 2025. Date modified. This is the last time it was modified, but this is the date that I copied it over to my new system. So I can't even tell when I downloaded that. Studio, odds and ends, projects, Blender, projects, Grease Pencil, Enchanted Lands, Castle Map, Top Blend. Um, sure, we'll open it with 4.4 just as a quickie, quick. If that will even work, because apparently it's not working at all. Okay, I don't know why it didn't work. This is all I had here, and you know that's weird. Unless I have like more frames, which I don't think I do. See, I was trying to do the whole like cloverleaf deal, and yeah, eraser. Look at that. Check it out. Eraser. I thought I'm gonna have to see if I can find some older blend files. Because I thought I had one saved. You know. Anyways, see, I have trouble just trying to. I mean, these don't even look like circles. Here's the hub. Looks like a flower almost. Brump, brump. Actually, it's probably just gonna be like straight down. I did have a map or something that I created though. Uh, file, save. We'll save that and I'll close that. Um, okay, so I thought I had something. Pencil projects. And that's the only one that I have in there. But there, stuff. Design documents. And these are just documents, right? Okay. Okay, those are the design notes as of March 11th, I guess. Okay. Let's go to downloads. What do I have in here? Okay, so this is just, alright. That was just me downloading at one point. Probably delete half of this crap here. What do we got? 25 drawing exercises. This is a PDF that I just got. The guy that runs this channel has these exercises. Honestly, let's see. The work of the late Kim Jong-ji sparked in me a desire to master the art of imagined drawing. His impossibly detailed drawings prove that what could be achieved with enough time, dedication, and of course a healthy dose of genius. In my pursuit to understand his mastery, I was introduced to good boy, huh? Okay. My pursuit, I was introduced to a roster of gifted draftsmen previously unknown from his contemporaries Katsuya Terada, Peter Han, to direct mentees Jack Wang Park and Kim Dong Ho. I don't know if I'm butchering these names. Their shared influence on took me across the globe to the vibrant illustrations of Jean Gerard. Uh, Gerard? I don't know. Better known as Mobius. This eventually exposed me to European masters like Karl Kapinski, Rembert Montalde, and Heinrich Clay, to name a few. But discovering is a far cry from learning, and it wasn't uncommon for me to look upon the works of these masters with immense awe and dread. How could I ever hope to reach their level? It's only due to the generous education of these artists and their community that I can feel inspired in the face of mastery, for they have provided a method to the madness. The years following, the genre of art that is imaginative drawing has exploded, primarily due to a viral video of Kim Jong-ji's sketchbook tours on the Proco YouTube channel. As a result, education in this field has become much more accessible, with tutorials by James Douglas, Modern Day James, Tom Fox Draws, Zeph Draws, among many others. Among them, Peter Hunt's adaptation of Norman Sherman's dynamic sketching method has proved to be an anchor in this discipline of imaginative drawing. With this foundation, observation, construction, everything I've learned since seems to come back to these central concepts. This book is a combination of the lessons from the artists mentioned above, condensed into a beginner-friendly order. As a student of the craft, it would be naive to say that this is an adequate summary of the source material. It is not. You'd be wise to say from the masters themselves, but if you, like me, find it downing, I think the simple summary can be a good entry point to the world beneath. This is my contribution to the education I have been generously provided, and I hope that it does the same for you. Learning to draw from your imagination has never been easier, and I aim to show you how. Let's begin. So here, let's go down. Frequently, okay, the exercises. Frequently asked questions, scaffolding, mechanics, straights and curves, point coordination. This is the basic stuff that I need to do. Basic forms, extrusion, cube, grid, cylinders, rotating form, box stacking, form manipulation, observation, imagination. What does this book teach you? Importance of form and understanding of space, how to organize your education, improve your drawing skills, how to memorize subject matter, and how to gain the most from a handful of effective drawing exercises. What does this book not teach you? This book does not teach you everything. It largely assumes you understand perspective basics, specifically focus on one fundamental skill, understanding form. This book will not replace a guided lesson from professionals, but will provide a good starting point for most amateurs. It largely ignores the value of classic shape-based drawing techniques. If you plan to work through this book, make sure to also study perspective as well as painting basics to really become a well-rounded artist. See the final chapter for my recommendations on furthering your self-taught art education. How long should I spend on each level? Uh, this is not a hard and fast rule. Every artist will have different strengths and weaknesses, but this is a safe starting point. Based on your experience drawing, segment your time between levels as shown above. As a rule of thumb, the earlier the levels are most crucial for building your foundations. Later levels challenge you to combine these concepts creatively. Beginner, 0 to 6 months. And that's what I need here. Level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Time. I see. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't know what the blank is, though, what that's about. Um, Intermediate, 1 to 2 years. Okay. Okay. You'll get the most from the exercise by treating them as medicine as opposed to diet. That means creating the art you want to create first and only coming to this exercising the solution to your artistic struggles. Um, Scaffolding is a strategy of providing temporary support in the process of skill acquisition. As the student masters the practice, the supports are gradually removed. This is one of the best ways to progress because it separates skills to be practiced one at a time. Interesting. By the way, this book or this PDF is out for free. Apparently, the author slash artist what had done a Kickstarter campaign, I guess, for writing a book, and then several months later, he still didn't have a book or anything, and I guess he refunded all the money, and I don't know if it was Kickstarter. He mentioned refunding all the money, so as far as I know, Kickstarter, you don't they don't send the money unless they actually deliver, unless the no, yeah, they send the money if the campaign is successful, which his was. So that's probably what he did. He used Kickstarter, I think. Um, but he so basically he didn't have anything. So what he did was he gave everybody their money back, and then he made this small PDF about the exercises, kind of based on what he was doing, working on the book, even though he didn't get much done on the actual book. Use this strategy when approaching challenging exercise. You find more. Let's see. Would it make easier grasp content over time, reduce the support. I'm not planning on like going through and doing drawing, sketching here in this part of the stream. In fact, probably not on stream at all. But I'm just doing this right this second. Um, just taking a quick look here. Uh, Drawings can be scaffolded across three domains: information, scaffolding, freehand, horizon line, and point, perspective grid. Mechanical scaffolding, brush pen, fine liner, ballpoint pen, pencil, ruler, pencil. I see. It goes up from there, from the bottom. Perspective rotations, values, rendering, continuity. Easier, harder. Uh, Information scaffolding example number 12, stack and cube, perspective grid. Vanishing point, freehand. Uh, Mechanical scaffolding example 11 edition. Pencil allows you to erase or draw through forms neatly. Fine liner versus clean line work and concrete decisions. Brush pen requires another dimension of control to create clean lines. If an exercise is too easy, new information isn't built, but when it's too hard, we quit. When you come across an exercise above or below your current skill, use scaffolds to adjust the task to your optimal level. Interesting. Level 1, mechanics. Build mechanical fluency. And that's really, this part is actually what I kind of want to do. Although it's talking about, well, straights and curves, okay, I get it. Coordination, tilting planes, parallel ellipses, ribbons. Okay, but this is the part I want, the mechanical fluency thing here. That's what I really need right now because, like I said, I'm okay at drawing or was okay at drawing. I haven't done it in years, and then of course I haven't really spent that much time drawing with my graphics tablet, which is kind of different than drawing on paper. Anyways, 5 minutes before any drawing session, warm up these exercises. 2-point coordination. Place a dot in your page. Tilting planes. Prerequisite to 3D forms. You know, I could probably do this stuff freehand, not too badly, but my hand shaking and stuff, I can't really do that. In other words, I know how to do it. In other words, I wouldn't need to learn to do this. I could, I could draw things like that. I could see in perspective. I'm actually not horrible at perspective. I kind of understand the basics pretty much. Foreshortening and horizon line and vanishing points and 1 versus 2 point versus 3 point. You can have up to like 5 point or some ridiculous thing, which gives you like fish islands kind of drawings. Okay. Parallel ellipses. Ribbons. Interesting. Most strokes are easier to control by pulling your line. Though rare, practice pushing your lines every once in a while to build motor control. Use a pen, please, huh? Interesting. Perspective grid, line, plus point. Okay. Anyways, okay, so this is all very interesting. Cube grid. You just basically drawing the forms, three-dimensional forms. Find models of each form at sketchfab.com. Huh. Rotating a cube. Box stacking level 3. This seems like it'd be pretty helpful in drawing pretty much anything. Realistic volume mapping. Interesting. Group of subject and group of basic volumes will only will exercise create more solid drawing. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and close this because that's not really what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for and what I don't think I'll find because it's got to be somewhere else or something. This is the same box line tracing. It looks like it. Choice creation sheet. I don't know what that is. What is that? Oh, this is air conditioner stuff. Thought for sure. I don't even know where these ROMs are from or what they're for. I don't remember. Um, okay, let's go to documents. Old school fonts. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for either. Pictures. some screenshots. Okay, they're gonna be in videos, and then I was just in downloads, right? Okay, let's try going to data stack, which is my Linux drive. That lost and found. Time shift up good. In here. Oh, this looks like. Let's see. No. This is. I don't even know what that's from. C users, F-good documents downloads. It's like Windows, but for some reason it's not Windows. It's not. There's nothing in there. There might be something there, maybe, and maybe they couldn't read it or something. I don't know. So this is actually my old. That's my old Linux, or that's my old home folder. So projects and MP4 sources. KV. Okay. Uh, if I go to data store, that's actually NTFS here. See, this is that NTFS drive. Of course, I don't have Windows up anymore, so that's a download. So what's in here? A ton of crap. Pictures. Uh, Costa Rican frog. Quite a few stuff in here though. Um, well, let's see if I can find couple pictures. Oh, hey Crasher. Um, I assume that your where is okay. I assume that was from Discord. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. Freebies and giveaways, which I'm not into right now. New. Okay. Check the live chat. Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. Whoa. Hold on. Hey, Crasher. Um, those were it was a PDF for drawing exercises, and I was just kind of looking at it briefly because I was wondering. Um, I was kind of wondering what was in it, but right now I was trying to see if I could find see USB contents. I actually have stuff on the USB of my USB content, so this is probably just the same thing here. Uh, USB, I'm not sure about that. Dev, it's all a lot of my old dev junk. A lot of it's just junk. Oh, that's too bad because I was trying to look for like I had started to draw a map somewhere along the line and I have no clue where it's at. So um okay. Multiple copies of my USB drive stuff, which has all the same stuff as everything else. Photo, video related. Let's see what's in here. Um, so I was just trying to find something that I had a map. I had started a map and I have no clue where the file is. Maybe it's one of those things that I just stopped working on or something. I don't know. This is all old stuff here, though. Pictures, save pictures. Um, hmm. Okay, well, whatever. Uh, all right, let's get. I guess I'm gonna get back to my thing here. So, so right now, really, what I'm working on is trying to get. I'm trying to get a sense of place here. Here, let's open this up. Well, I probably Dad can probably hear me. I need to keep my voice down. I keep forgetting. Um, I forget my file's location a lot as well. Yeah, I just got crap all over the place now. It's stuff that isn't even relevant anymore, but it's still there. Uh, okay, so basically in the story, Max is trying to track down Zanzibar, and he goes to the Tri Villages area because that's where he was touring, which is Chowserton. Yeah, I don't know. At first, I thought it was a good idea. I thought the names were okay, but now it's just like the more you look at some of these, the more you cringe. Like Chillington doesn't sound that great to me either, and the fact that they're all have TON at the end, I might have them where only two of them have TON, or where just one of them has TON. They're all different. My Windows got corrupted earlier today. Well, that sucks. Well, hopefully you can get all your data and stuff back and get on top. Here, I had to grade it from 111 to a 10. You don't want 11 anyways. 11's crap. It's crap. Actually, I don't know. 11 works fine. We have it on our basically our main TV. So it's essentially a home theater PC basically, and it's got Windows 11, which I'm going to switch to Linux like really soon. They had some things that you had to upgrade to or whatever, and so they're adding a bunch of junk like the stuff that has to do with the stuff like recall, which supposedly they removed recall, but then I don't think it's gone. And the thing like Copilot automatically have an AI on there and stuff like that. Just don't want that anymore. So I'm going to remove Windows 11 from that computer and I'm going to install Linux on it. Probably the same thing that I have on here, Mint. I'll probably be messing around with something like Arch, but my dad's running Mint, and so it's better just to have all of our computers have the same version of Linux. Okay, so um, okay, so what the reason I started looking in my folders for stuff is that um, I'm gonna have to come up with a new village. Before it was like random villages, but at some point I'm gonna have to actually come up with the actual physical location in the game, the actual location that the user can go to. And so I'm gonna have to, just come up with various villages and things. But I'm just trying to think of is there something special? Do I just come up with a name and you know I don't have any special significance other than the fact that Zanzibar is doing magic shows all over the realm, all over the kingdom, and he just goes to different ones. And this is significant because Max is going to catch him at a village of some sort. That's not part of the Tri Villages area, which is an area of 3 villages that I kind of come up with. That he has to go. He has to visit Trouserton because that's where the show was, and then he's got to gather clues by going to Leperton and Chillington, and so so there. Yeah, well, Chat GPT is what I let into it though. I log in, I do stuff, and I only ask it certain things. So it's not like it's observing my whole computer system. It's only the information that I let it have. So there's still some privacy in that regards. As far as anybody being able to hack into accounts and that sort of thing, that's always a thing, right? Because people can hack into your system and stuff. But it's not sending, it's not taking a look at my hard drive contents or my screen every so often and sending back reams of data back to OpenAI. It'll whatever I put in there is public. Whatever I put on the internet is essentially public to the internet, basically. Um, so there's a difference there. I don't have a problem with the AI, obviously. I have a problem with something taking over your system though, which is what Copilot does and what Recall does and whatever else Microsoft wants to put in there. So it's not as much of uh, an issue. It's not like I'm being a hypocrite there. I use the AI quite a lot, obviously. Um, anyways, so now I have to, and this is the sort of thing that takes a while here. I know I kind of wasted my first 30 minutes about, and now it's 20 minutes more, so I haven't exactly wasted this 20 minutes, but um, the thing that takes me so long is I have to think of this thing. So, so basically, he has to track him down, which means he has to go through a few villages. He has to find clues. Eventually, he catches up with him, and so then I have to think logically. Okay, so the first place he would probably go to is he probably go back to the scene of the crime, which is Trouserton. That's where he saw the show, and then learning that it was part of the tour. He's touring the 3 villages there before moving on, and then he has to gather clues to see if he can find the next village he's going to, or he could wait until he does another show. But he needs to catch up with him pretty quickly. Okay. Yeah, yeah, somebody in a guy named Bomb in IRC Crasher was saying that Windows 11 to 10 is an upgrade, not a downgrade, and then said to warn you about it. So yeah, you're probably better served just staying on Windows 10. So that's probably well. Okay, so I get it though. The idea is that the security updates stop and stuff, and so you need to update or die kind of thing, right? You need to update to 11 or not use Windows, and I would opt not to use Windows. So if you ever wanted to learn Linux, you should sure just do it now. You can do pretty much almost anything you can do on Windows in Linux, and there's a ton of different choices that distributions, flavors, whatever they say, what they call that, flavors of Linux. There's so many different flavors of Linux. You can pick and you can customize it any way you want. And you can put components in and all kinds of goofy stuff. Of course, if you're coming from Windows, Linux Mint is probably a good solid one. There's a couple other ones that are supposed to be good for Windows users, but Linux Mint is the one I would probably choose if you don't have experience with Linux. So, anyways, um, yeah, yeah, Windows. Um, well, yeah, it's because 11, like I said, 11 has the more of the telemetry. 10, uh, it's a lot harder to create a local account in Windows 11. I think you can still do it, but they're quickly closing up that little loophole, so to where you always have to have a Microsoft thing, because remember, they want you on a server. They don't want you downloading, and they don't want you owning software. They want you on a service, just like Adobe's done, and just like all these other companies have done. So they want to finally get you on a Windows service where you're paying monthly instead of downloading an operating system. So they're gonna completely transform 11 to facilitate that. And then of course you have Copilot, which watches your everything you input, and then Recall, which they claim that they removed, I think, but I don't think it's removed. I think it's still in there. So that takes a snapshot of your screen and a bunch of other information, sends it right back to Microsoft. So I yeah, if you could still use Windows 10 uh, safely, like on the internet, right? And I've actually heard some people claim that they can, if you put up like anti-malware and antivirus, and there's a number of things that you can do that supposedly firewalls and such, that you can supposedly run Windows 10 on the internet, even though they don't have any more security updates. Um, but I take that with a grain of salt. It's possible nothing would happen to you. It's also possible you do that even if you had all the software that would protect you, that it would still compromise your system. But anyways, my suggestion is to move to Linux basically. Not because I think Linux is the best thing ever. In fact, I have some problems with Linux myself. But as far as getting away from Microsoft, then I'll just have to deal with the the idiosyncrasies of Linux. Um, Hold on a sec. Here, um, it's a personal choice. Yeah, well, yeah, it's a personal choice, sure. But um, the good part about Linux is it's all your choice, basically. That's kind of the thing about Linux. And almost everything you can find on there on Linux is open source. So most everything is free. That doesn't mean there isn't stuff you can pay for, that you would pay for, whatever. Of course, you wouldn't be able to run stuff like the Adobe software and stuff. Um, and there's a few softwares that you can't run. But GIMP is more than capable of competing with Photoshop. I don't know if it's better than Photoshop. I haven't ever used Photoshop, so I don't really actually know the full capabilities of Photoshop. But GIMP has pretty much most of the features that you would find on there, and it's completely free, and you don't have to do a subscription. So it's probably good to get out of the Adobe ecosystem, anyways, because they're gonna nickel and dime you. In fact, someone they follow on YouTube uh, called Royal Skies, who shows you how to like rig stuff in Blender and for like animations and such. He was talking about an incident that he had where Adobe had just raised their price to, I don't know if it was like twice as much, almost twice as much or something than he was currently paying, and they did it without really telling him. And so eventually he got on the phone, and I guess he argued with them, and eventually got them to to use the old price. Anyways, he was able to he's able to get some of his money refunded, and he was able to use Adobe software on using the old monthly payment. And so they keep doing crap like that. It's just better to probably get away from like Adobe, from anything that's a subscription thing, right? Because they're going to get you on that dole one way or another. And I think Microsoft's. whole deal. Not maybe not originally, not maybe not back in DOS days or even in the early days of Windows, but certainly in the last 20 or so years, I think their thought has been getting everyone on terminals. I used to say this. There eventually everything's going to be on the web. It's going to be on terminal. Um, you know, back in the old days, right? You'd have the mainframe at like a university or something, and you had to share time with other students or other people. You have to sign in, and you had effectively a terminal, basically a screen and a keyboard, basically, and then we got personal computers, and now they want to get you back on the terminal, the whole terminal thing. You know, that's why we got these all-in-one computers and these small deals because you almost don't need a home computer anymore. They can almost do everything online because broadband's quick enough now that all you need is a monitor and a keyboard. And they want you to do that because they want you on the dole basically, right? If you're using a service, they can change your service, they can increase the price, they can do anything to it and your usage of it, and you can't do a thing about it. So if you have your home system configured a certain way, um, then and they happen to change it, you can't do anything about it. But if you're doing the old-fashioned way where you're owning your own equipment and your own software, then you can do it the way you want to. You can stick to something until it no longer works, right? It's kind of funny because a lot of the computer stuff we do today, even though we're way more advanced, um, is pretty much what we've been doing ever since the 80s almost. I'm not saying that we have like way bigger you know disk drives, way more RAM, way faster CPU speeds, but we're not basically doing that much different. You know, before email, there was still a form of email on bulletin board. If you know about bulletin board systems, the thing I will miss is live caption because Win 10 doesn't have it. Yeah, um, I'm sure Windows 11 has some things that anybody would like to, even those that don't really like Windows 11. So, I mean, that's par for the course, really. Um, you probably will have to get back on 11 at some point, though, because, like I said, they're not giving security updates anymore. So, you're not going to be that safe using Windows 10 for because they just announced end of life here just in the middle of this month, the 14th, I think it was. So you're gonna either have to upgrade back to Windows 11 uh, or like I said, switch to something like Linux or something or something else, whatever. So so yeah, that's where it is. Yeah, Windows 11 has a bunch of stuff, and you won't be able to debloat as easily too, from what I understand. I mean, they still have stuff that will debloat Windows 11, but I guess with the latest update, I think a lot of that just starts being harder now. Eventually, they'll just completely lock you out, so you'll have to use their thing or switch over to something else entirely. So like Apple, you can switch to Apple if you want. Apple, at least Apple might be a better than Microsoft probably. I'm sure they have their own problems, but since I've never used Apple software or hardware, well, that's not true. I used a Macintosh Classic in school, but that was like in the 90s, so that was a long time ago. But anyways, it just means that no new exploits are going to be patched when they're found. All the time, these operating systems have security exploits. They have switches or something that somebody can use to vector in and get control of your system, basically. And basically, Microsoft has to have support a certain amount of time in order to patch these. That's why you're always getting security updates. When you're downloading security updates, you go to Windows Update and you download those. It's because they're usually patches for exploits, for holes basically in your in the software that malicious actors can use to attack your system basically. So take there's various levels, and some things are more vulnerable than others, and all that kind of stuff. But once Microsoft decides that they're no longer going to support that, you won't get any more security updates. So that means any future exploits that somebody finds could potentially lead to breaches. And uh, there has been people that showed how that happens. If you somebody did it with XP, they put an XP system up, and within minutes, some Russian hackers like broke into the thing and had full control of all the information and everything that was in there. And even though that's an old operating system, it's a similar kind of thing. So um, you're better off either, like I said, fixing your system and then going back to Windows 11, or switching to another operating system or environment. So that's either Linux or Apple, right? So yeah, but it's not always okay. So Windows Defender is probably pretty good, and it might help work for a while. It's not going to work forever though. So yeah, so there's and then there's another thing which is a little bit more longer down the line, and that is eventually um, programs will stop supporting Windows 10. In other words, they will no longer be able to run on it because the requirements and things have changed, and the way software is and hardware has changed. HP as well. What, HP as in Hewlett Packard? That's just your brand of computer, right? It's a Hewlett Packard computer. But yeah, so I don't know how far Defender goes. It used to be just antivirus, right? But then you have like rootkits, which I don't even really know what rootkits are, but somehow they allow somebody to get low level access to your system. There's then there's what's the other thing? Um, I forget all the stuff there is, but there's different ways that people can hack into your system, and they will if given the chance. So so basically, I would still be a little bit wary about being on the internet. If you're on Windows 10, you might want to kind of limit it a little bit. It isn't going to automatically um, you're not going to automatically have somebody hack into your system right away necessarily, but there is a possibility that anyways, the longer that it goes on, the longer you use it, the more vulnerable it'll get. So yeah, there's just different ways that people can get into your system. It's not just viruses. Um, but anyways, you're probably safe for a little while. I don't know how long that's going to be though. So you know, so like I said, either decide to move to a different environment entirely, or go ahead and re-upgrade back to Windows 11. I think your software key, it doesn't matter whether it's 10 or 11, will still allow you to register with Microsoft. That's kind of the other thing too, right? Is your getting your software registered. Um, it used to be that you had a key generated for that specific copy of Windows. You get a CD and you get the CD key, and it would unlock it essentially, showing that you have a legitimate bot copy of it. But they switched later on because we're all on internet now. They switched to doing it via via your internet. So now that's another thing that um, you have to go back. You have to go back through activation whenever you upgrade or whenever you buy a new version of Windows now. Whereas before you didn't have to do that. You bought your software, you owned it, you know, and you had your CD key and you could use that. You still have keys now, but um, now you have to activate via online. You can't just activate. You can't just put in a key in your own system and then have it activate. So, like I said, try to look into getting back to putting Windows 11 on there. Um, or my suggestion is to move to Linux. That would just be me. Uh, see, where and honestly, you're probably not using anything you couldn't find on Linux anyways for free. You know. Now there is a thing with the games, right? So there are Windows games that won't run in Linux, but there's a couple of different things. One is Steam has Proton, which allows a lot of Steam games to run in Linux, even if they're Windows games. There is Wine, which is uh, what I said the other day. I think it sounds for Windows emulator, and the way I understand it, it's not strictly an emulator. It translates commands to the operating system, uh, so that it will play on your system as is without like any patching or anything like that. And I don't fully understand it, but basically the idea is that your computer's the same. You're running either an Intel or an AMD chip, and you know you're using common hardware basically, and so it changes some of the commands that would actually go to the operating system to run, and it turns them into Linux commands, I guess. But I'm just giving you as basic how I understand it. You know, I'm not really that knowledgeable about this stuff, but so basically, it tells Linux that this means this command, and then to do it, and then basically the game kind of runs like it always has. You know, you have basically you have drivers. So basically, you have your executable stuff, and then it basically directs the hardware to do stuff. So you're offloading stuff onto your graphics card, and you're not directly programming for the operating system directly. You're programming from the hardware. So what I guess what Wine does is it translates it to where it still runs on the hardware just like it did on Windows, but the Windows specific stuff, it's able to kind of mimic that, I guess, or it's able to instruct the Linux kernel, you know, um, to do the same sort of thing that it does in Windows. Yeah, it's like you could say it's a translator, right? And I only say that because when I was looking at like Windows emulator stuff, it was saying, well, it's not actually an emulator, right? An emulator literally emulates the instruction set of your of your original computer. So if you're running DOSBox, DOSBox is emulating MS DOS. So that means all the commands and stuff that you run in DOS, um, it will it will mimic those, so that your program will ask it to do something, and so it kind of works as though it were running in that operating system. What Wine does is a little bit different. It's like you said, it translates the some of the system level calls to Linux system level calls, and then it works like it always did because it's working on the same hardware, so it's using the same binary data and all that stuff. So that's the way it. Yeah, you can ask anything since I changed to Win 10. Well, I mean, I'll try to help you, but I'm not an expert or anything, so. But you can go ahead and ask anyways. So, what problem are you facing from changing to Windows 10? And I got about 15 minutes left in this phase before I go on break, and so you'll probably be heading to bed. So if you can make it quick, I can help. I might be able to help you out, maybe. Uh, Built-in mic, but since I downgraded, it's showing. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not really sure what you can do about that. You can right click. You can right click the speaker icon, and I don't have a Windows in front of me, so I have to do this from memory. But um, you want recording devices, um, and then you want to see if it's showing up at all. If it's not, you might want to go into Device Manager and check to see if you have drivers for your microphone in there. It shows it unplugged. Um, yeah, sometimes that happened with me too. You can try unplugging and replugging it in because sometimes all it takes is that it needs to uh, know that something changed in the system. So it's very possible you could just do a simple unplug the microphone, plug the microphone back in. I'm not sure if that'll work for sure, but it might work. You try that. If that's not the case, then you might have a driver issue. In which case, you'll have to go into Device Manager and see if you see any like little yellow exclamation marks on your devices, and then you might have to find some drivers for your microphone. Yeah, yeah, built in. I get it. Okay, so you can't do it. You can't plug it and unplug it because it's not external. Okay. So yeah, I guess the okay. So the first thing that I suggested, you're gonna right click on your speaker, and then I wish I had that in front of me because I could what kind of walk you through it. But so you right click on it, and then there'll be something to do with recording devices on there. You go to recording devices, and then you check and see if anything shows up in there. If nothing shows up in there, then you're gonna have to go to Device Manager. You have to go to settings. You have to you can either bring up the old-fashioned control panel if Windows 11 or Windows 10 should still have control panel in there. If you can find control panel, or you can just do go to the run menu and go to you could search for you can search for device manager. You start typing in device manager, and then it'll pop up. You can run it. Yeah, yeah. If it's built in, you can unplug it, obviously. Um, so yeah, the only thing that I can think of, like I said, is right click on your speaker icon on the desktop on the taskbar. And the system it's the system tray. It's on the right. You right click on your speakers, and then you'll have something that says something about recording devices. Go into recording devices to see if there's any recording devices in there. If it's in there, you just maybe select it and apply to see if it will activate, maybe. So you could try doing that. And you can also try, believe it or not, you can try asking an AI, ChatGPT or Grok, and it might would help you better than I could, maybe. I know sometimes I have some problems with the AIs, but they're generally pretty good, and I don't have Windows in front of me to actually be able to tell you exactly what to do. So, um, you can probably you can probably use the print screen button, and then you're gonna have to go into an image editor of some sort and paste it in. Like if you have GIMP or if you have I don't know any pretty much any image editor can probably create a image from a screenshot, unless you have a screenshot program, um, specific screenshot program. Yeah, well, print screen should um, print screen should copy it to the clipboard. I think. I don't know. I have to do a search. Uh, how do you grab a screenshot in Windows 10? Well, it probably has. Yeah. Okay, to take a screenshot, you can use several built-in methods. Pressing the print screen key captures your entire screen and copies it to the clipboard. So if you're using the print screen button, then it copied it to the clipboard, but that means you'll have to go into an image editor like GIMP or like Photoshop or whatever your image editor of choice is, and then you'll have to paste it in from the clipboard. You can do it that ways. To automatically save the screenshot as a PNG file, press the Windows key plus print screen. This will dim the screen briefly and save the image to the screenshots folder within your pictures directory. That actually seems like a better idea there. So, yeah, try that. Try the Windows screen key and print screen. And if you see the screen dim, then you can check your screenshots folder within your pictures directory. I don't know. Yellow marks from what though? What did you do that caused it to have those yellow marks? Anyways, so that's pretty good if Windows already has that built in into Windows 10. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. See, it looks like you have um these other devices. That means that and even your Wi-Fi direct I don't know what virtual adapter is, so that's probably nothing you need to worry about. So somehow you're going to need um I see the little exclamation point deals. You have under other devices, multimedia controller, PCI encryption, decryption controller, SM bus controller, unknown device. So, but yeah, I see the little exclamation marks. That means you probably need to reinstall your drivers. So okay, so when you get your laptop, you're gonna have a CD or a DVD with your drivers on it, or since we're not doing CDs or DVD players anymore, more than likely you'll have to go to the maker of your laptop, which you said was HP, I believe. And if that's the case, you'll have to go to the Hewlett Packard website, and you have to go to support. You'll have to bring up your particular model of laptop, and then you're gonna have to download driver firmware updates. And this is usually kind of what you need to do anyways when you reinstall a new uh, operating system. The other thing you could probably do is you could probably go into Windows. Well, You could probably go into Windows Update and update it to the latest version of Windows 10 updates. You probably still do that. I'm not sure for sure if it'll work, but it should work fine. It just means because it's end of life, it means that they're not going to have any more new updates from October 14th or whatever it was. So you'll want to you can first you can go into Windows Update and try to update the system. It might try to update it back to 11, but if you do that, it might work for you anyways. It might just automatically upgrade you back to 11 and have everything working. So, um, I guess try doing that maybe. Otherwise, like I said, you can go to the Hewlett Packard website, go to their support, find your particular model of laptop, and then go to the software downloads, and they'll have things about drivers. It'll probably have your your chipset drivers and a couple of other things that you actually need that you could probably install those instead. So, anyways, so that. Do you do any other screenshots? Okay, no. Okay, so anyways, it's about time for me to go, so I'm gonna have to take off. Um, and I'll be back in an hour, but in your case, it'll be like shoot, it's 1 p.m. now, and that's 8.5 hours, so it's like 9:30 where you are, 9:30 p.m. Or almost 9:30. Uh, so I don't know if you could stay up later, but yeah, yeah. So it's right. So that's basically what it is. The drivers are missing. Have to download the drivers basically. So so the two things. One is you can go into Windows Update, and it will probably try to update you to back up to Windows 11. It will probably work. I'm not saying for sure. I don't know for sure what would happen, but if it does that and asks you to upgrade to Windows 11, you can go ahead and do that, and it should probably work okay. It should be fine. You should be back up to normal. And then the opposite thing is if you're not going to do Windows 11 at all, you go to your laptop maker's website, find your model on the support page, and then um, look up software downloads, and then you can probably find the chipset, the audio driver stuff, and it's usually like Realtek or something, and probably a number of other things that you can download and reinstall drivers for your system. Um, so you can do it either or. 10:30. Oh, it's 10:30. Oh, right. What am I thinking? Uh, well, no, that's. Oh, so it's actually nine. It's 9.5 hours. I'm off then, right? So 1 o'clock is 10:30. Oh, so it's 9.5 hours, not 8.5, like I thought it was. Okay, I'll remember that. Okay, so anyways, yeah, I'll be back in an hour if you're still on. I don't know if you're allowed to stay up that late, but if you are, I'll still be, I'll be plugging away. So anyways, I'll see you, Crasher. Yeah, whatever you decide. Suggestion, suggest getting ready to make the switch to Linux. It'll be pretty easy, especially if you do Linux Mint. Now there are other easy Linux distros. I think Zorin was one that was supposed to be good for Windows users. I'm not 100% certain on that, so don't quote me. You have to do your own homework there. But Ubuntu was made to be easy for anybody to download. It's almost like a first Linux. Like if you were first introduced, and a lot of people were introduced to Linux to that first. Linux Mint is actually sits on top of Ubuntu, and Linux Mint is meant to mimic Windows desktop and stuff. So you download Linux Mint, you download it with the Cinnamon desktop, and you should be able to do everything you do in Windows. Of course, it's a completely different operating system, so you'll back up your data files, and you'll probably have to format your hard drive to what ext4 or whatever their file system is, and so it is different, but it is the kind of the easiest way to get into Linux is by doing that. So, anyways, my suggestion, and thanks for everyone else for bearing with me. And I'll see you in part two in about an hour. And yeah, so see you in about an hour. Um, and thanks for watching part one, even though I didn't really get anything done today, which is okay because it's kind of the way it is usually. And I'm still trying to find out how to make it more interesting. So in this kind of goofy transition period, you might say, um, I'm not going to be getting a lot of work done on the story side, on the actual game side, anyways, until I stabilize and I decide on something. The suggestion. Okay. Um, so um, tomorrow will be my 200th stream, and I'll see if there isn't something I can do for that, and then I'll be off for a week on a break, and I'll decide whether or not I'll continue actually doing the streaming. But I probably will, but figure out how to change it up and make it more interesting. So, anyways, everybody, thanks for watching part one, and I will see you in an hour for part two, where I'll be working on the control modifier key again. But I think I got it this time. I think I'll solve it this time. So I'll see you in about an hour. If I don't, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching part one. Yeah, you have a great day too, Crasher, and or a great evening, I guess. Good sleep. Good night or whatever, I guess. Anyways, okay.